Brock Page here with some sports picks. Sports picks for fun. Dallas travels to Atlanta to take on the Falcons for a 4:25 kickoff. The betting opened up with the Cowboys catching 3 and the total at 53 since the betting opened up earlier in the week. Not a whole lot of movement on the spread. Depending on where you're shopping, I've seen this one as high as 3.5, and I also saw the Cowboys taking some money at certain places as well. At this point right now, believe it or not, a lot of the sports books have been setting that opening line with the anticipation that Zeke will not be in the lineup. Let me tell me what you think in the comments. Is Zeke worth 2 points, 3 points, 7 points? What is Zeke Elliott's direct impact on the spread when he's deemed eligible? But anyway, since the betting opened up, I've got the Falcons still laying 3 at home with the total moving downward to an even 51. A lot of under money in this one. Currently, Atlanta's 3-2 to win this one outright. And at the moment, the Cowboys are taking 64% of the money. So look for them to be catching at least a half a point less at some point today or tomorrow. And if you like the Cowboys to cover in this one, these guys have been excellent against the number all year round. Obviously, I'm no lawyer, so I have no idea on the status of Elliott, but the Cowboys against that spread are 5-3 overall, 3-1 when traveling, 2-0 against teams around 500. They've also done pretty well covering against those marginal defenses, going 4-2 against the spread versus teams allowing 21 to 25 points per contest. Dallas has some marquee covers over KC and Washington, has gone 3-0 against the spread in their last 3 straight. They're going up against a Falcons team who hasn't been too good against the number themselves recently. As of late, Atlanta's failed to cover their last 4 straight contests. As a matter of fact, these guys have struggled against the number all year long. Atlanta's covering just 25% of their matchups on the year. I got them covering just 2 of 8 overall in all their games. Atlanta against the spread is also 1-2 at Mercedes-Benz, 2-5 laying the points, and 1-2 as the official home favorite. The Falcons have also struggled to cover against winning ball clubs, covering just 2 of 5 against teams over 500. These guys have failed to cover against the likes of the Jets and Dolphins. All said and done, the case for Dallas bettors can certainly be made. Now, scoring-wise, contrary to last season, we haven't seen many points in these Atlanta contests. 3 out of the Falcons' last 4 games have stayed under the line. They scored just 13 points per contest in those unders. Dallas games have gone 1-1 to the unders in their last 2 themselves. They held their opponents to just 15 points per contest in their last 3 as well. All in all, the case for the public money on the total can certainly be made. As for me, however, I'm going to hedge my wagering and make a pick on all 3. All told, I like Dallas +3 with the Falcons winning it outright and the under 51 in this one. Next game, Houston at the LA Rams, 4:05 Eastern start at the Coliseum. Double-digit opening line in this one. The Rams opened this one up as the 10-point favorites and the total at an even 47. The books really have little faith in this QB situation and thought 10 points was an appropriate line to induce some action. I actually think it was intended to induce action on the Texans. Not the case, though, as the Rams are currently 11.5 against the spread with the total moving downward to 45.5. Rams are taking all the money in this one along with the under. Currently, LA is 6.25 on the money line, and at the moment, the Texans are taking just 33% of the public action, so look for them to be catching a few more points by kickoff. When it comes to the Texans, obviously it's pretty tough to go by the trends since their offensive situation has drastically changed. For me personally, though, I always trust the process, if you will, of those lines adjusting for these exact variables. I know the last thing you'd ever want to do is trust an odds maker, but he needs action on both sides too, so he's going to lay a fair market price himself. Now, if you're of that mindset, which you're probably not, just keep in mind that I've been picking games consistently this year at about 60%, so the notion of those lines adjusting for variables has certainly been working out for me personally. And if you embrace this mindset, or at least want to entertain it, I actually have some great news for Texans bettors. Houston against the spread has gone 5-3 overall, 4-1 when catching the points, and a perfect 3-0 covering on the road. Houston's also been pretty successful against the spread against quality teams, going 2-1 against the spread against teams over 500, and 2-1 versus teams allowing less than 21 points a game. In addition to all that, this Houston Texans ball club has gone a perfect 3-0 covering as the official road underdog. They're going up against a Rams team who's been fairly lackluster against the number all year long in certain categories. The Rams have covered just 1 of 3 at the Coliseum and just 3 of 6 when laying the points. They've also struggled against losing teams, failing to cover 2 of 3 against teams under a .400 win percentage. In addition to all that, the Rams covered just 1 of 3 as the official home favorite. Having said all that, though, if you're a Rams bettor in this one and you're leaning towards them laying all those points, keep in mind, this Rams squad is on a 3-game winning streak against the spread. Last time they failed to cover was October 8th. All that in mind, the case really for either side can certainly be made. Not sure if you want to wager all that hard-earned cash on Houston. They have garnered themselves a lot of covers, and they are catching double digits Sunday. And the Rams right now are just hot. They really can't miss in the outright game and the numbers game. So not so sure this is the best spot for me to make a play. But let's go ahead and break down the scoring real quick and see if we can get something tangible there. Rams games went 2-1 to the overs in their last 3. They've scored 37 points a game on average in those last 3. Meanwhile, a little bit different story on the Houston side of things as they're 0-1 to the overs in their most recent game where Tom Savage made the start. He led the Texans to a 14-point output in that loss to Indy that week. A lot of your public money is going to continue to come in on the under, in my opinion. But if you like the total in this one, just keep in mind that the Rams these days do have the ability to put the over themselves. Spit it out, Brock. All said and done, though, I think bettors are in a real bad spot wagering on this game. I hate to do this, but I don't think this is a game worth betting. I'm not even confident in using any of these teams in a teaser. The Rams in a moneyline parlay would probably be the best way to go. Hopefully that parlay has about 5 other teams in it, 2 of which being underdogs, so you can actually make some money. All told, though, I'm refusing any type of action on this game. All right, next game, the Garbage Bowl. This game right here is literally the degenerate Super Bowl. The only folks that are going to be watching this game are straight gamblers, maybe a few loyal Niners and Giants fans as well. But this is a bettor's game this Sunday, and I'm talking about the New York Football Giants traveling to Levi Stadium to take on the Niners. 4:25 Eastern start in that slot fest. And of course, why not? Why would we not have a good old-fashioned flip of the lines in this one? The betting opened up with the Giants as the 1-point underdog and the total at 42.5. Since those lines came out, the pitiful New York Giants find themselves taking money on this game. As a matter of fact, the Giants are now the 2.5-point favorites in this matchup. And to be honest, the Niners could very well catch a few more points by kickoff. And I'm real surprised at the total in this one. Not particularly the line itself, but rather the lack of movement. I thought the public would have been pounding the under in this one. Spit it out, Brock! So far, I haven't seen any movement of this line as the total remains at 42.5. Perhaps the total is making money, but it's the books that are refusing to move the line down and induce some more action. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. But anyway, the Giants are 3-2 to win this one outright. They're also still taking 56% of the action in this one. The Niners are just taking 44% of the public money. And speaking of those Niners, they have to win at some point, right? Well, winning is still not synonymous with covering in this one, as they're catching 2.5. And really, why would you want them to win as a Niners fan at this point? From here on out, you might as well root for them to keep it close. Hope they catch double digits and at least try to win a few bucks off of them. And if that's your plan, these guys actually haven't been too bad against the number, at least not as bad as their outright record indicates. They do have 4 covers on the year, all of which came as the underdog. And San Fran's actually done a good job of keeping the games close against other piss-poor teams. The Niners are 2-1 against the spread against teams with a sub-400 win percentage. They're going up against a Giants team who's covered just 3 of 8 overall and is 0-2 covering as the favorite. Most recently, the Giants have failed to cover their 3 of their last 4. All said and done, let's be real here. There are definitely some trouble spots for bettors on either side. Now, scoring-wise, obviously we haven't seen much of it in these games. Niners games are 0-2 to the overs in their last couple. They've also scored just 10 points per game in their last 3. They're going up against a Giants squad who's also 0-2 to the overs before last week's action. They're averaging just 12 points per contest in their last 2 as well. My only concern in this one is the Swiss cheese defense of both teams. The Giants are giving up a rotund 38 points per game in their last 2. The Niners are giving up 30 points a game on average in their last 4. All that said, I'm actually kind of hesitant on making a play on the total, although common sense screams under in this one. I'm just a little gun-shy when it comes to these porous defenses. That in mind, I'm going to forego a play on the total and outright winner in this one, as this could very well end in a 0-0 tie. I wonder what the prop is on that. All told, though, I'm going to buy the hook and take the Niners +3, getting the job done against the spread in this one. Next game, Sunday night primetime football. This game looked really good before the season started. I'm talking about New England at Denver, 8:30 kickoff in the Mile High City. New England opened up the betting as the 7-point favorites and the total at 47. Since the lines came out, no real surprises in this one. New England and the under taking most of the money. Total opened up really high in my opinion as well. The Patriots are now 7.5 with the total moving downward to 46.5. Currently the Patriots are 3-15 to win this one outright. And at the moment, just 30% of the money's on Denver. So look for them to be catching a few more points at some point before kickoff. If you like Denver plus the points, you're still treading in very deep water. This Broncos team has been pitiful against the number this year. The Broncos are covering just 25% of their games overall, with a record of just 2-6 against the spread. They've also covered just 1 of 3 when catching points, and have gone 0-2 covering at the current posted total. Denver's going to look to get back on track after failing to win and cover in their last 4 straight games. They got themselves a Patriots opponent who's 2-1 against the spread on the road and has covered 50% of their games when laying the points. New England's also 2-1 covering as the official road favorite and is 3-1 against the number in their last 4. All told, the case for Patriots bettors can certainly be made. Now, when it comes to the scoring, we haven't really seen a whole lot of overs between these two ball clubs. Patriots games are 0-4 to the overs in their last handful. They're holding their opponents to just 12 points a game in those 4. Similar story on the other side. Denver's gone just 1-2 to the overs in their previous 3 before last week's action. The Broncos averaged just 9 points per game in those contests. All told, the case for under bettors can certainly be made. I think I'll agree with the public money as well. All told, I'm going to buy the hook and take the Patriots -7 and winning it outright for some pricey moneyline cash. I'm also taking the under 46.5. Next and final game for the show. I'm talking about Monday Night Football. We got Miami in another primetime game. What the hell? I'm talking about Miami traveling to the Queen City to take on the Panthers. 8:30 Eastern start at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. The Panthers opened up the betting as the steep 7.5-point favorites and the total at an even 39. And just for the record, these opening lines made absolutely no sense to me personally. I guess that's why I'm an amateur and not the sharp. But the spread seemed high, the total seemed low to me. But anyway, I was really surprised to see the movement of the lines on the spread. Right now, Carolina's taking money at -9.5 against the spread, with the total moving upward to 39.5 points. And at the moment, the Panthers are 435 to win this one outright. Now, if you like the Panthers laying the 9.5, my only question to you is, why? The Panthers have covered just 1 of 4 at Bank of America Stadium this year, and a pitiful 1 of 5 games when laying the points. And the coup de grace of them all, the Panthers' record against the spread as the official home favorite. This Carolina ball club is 0-3 covering when laying the points in Charlotte. The Panthers failed to cover 2 of their previous 3 before last week's action as well. They're going up against a Dolphins squad who's gone 5-3 against the spread overall, depending on where you're shopping. They're also 3-2 covering as the underdog and 3-1 against the spread in their last 4. All in all, I think the case for the Dolphins plus the points can certainly be made. I know they've been really bad in spots, but 3 out of their last 4 games have been decided by 3 points per contest, respectively. Now, scoring-wise, we've seen a good amount of overs in these Dolphins matchups lately. Miami games are 3-0 to the overs in their last trio. They averaged 30 points of scoring in 2 of those 3 games. In addition to that, they also gave up 32 points per game in those 3 as well. Meanwhile, on the other side, Carolina games went 2-1 to the overs in their last 3 at home. They gave up 31 points per contest on average in those 2 aforementioned overs. All told, I really think overbettors can take advantage of that incredibly low opening number. A lot of times these wise guys try to outsmart themselves and have that low number talk to them, and it really talks to them in taking the under. But sometimes you just got to make the play that makes sense. All said and done, I'm going to go ahead and make a play on all three in this one. All told, I'm going to buy the hook and take Miami plus 10, Carolina outright, and the over 39.5. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me for Week 10 NFL plays. Before I get out of here, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Productions, I'm Brock Page. Have yourself a positive day.